In just 31 seconds, one of Britain's most beloved actors goes from calm and collected to absolutely furious, unleashing a verbal takedown so brutal that it left the host speechless and the entire studio in shocked silence before storming off, set in what might be the most dramatic exit in talk show history. Last night's episode promised to be a celebration of cinema legend Michael Caine's remarkable career, but what viewers witnessed instead was a masterclass in how not to conduct an interview. What started as a conversation about Caine's legendary films quickly descended into chaos when the host decided to cross a line that should never have been crossed. The trouble began almost immediately. Michael Caine walked onto the set to warm applause from the studio audience, his trademark charm on full display as he settled into his chair. He looked relaxed, wearing an elegant suit, ready to discuss his incredible journey through Hollywood. But the host had other plans. "Michael, lovely to have you here," the host began with that signature smirk that regular viewers know all too well. "Now, I want to talk about your career, but first, let's address the elephant in the room. You've been very quiet about certain political issues lately. Some would say suspiciously quiet." Michael's expression shifted slightly, a flicker of annoyance crossing his face. "I'm here to talk about my work, if you don't mind," he replied politely but firmly. "I've done hundreds of films, worked with incredible people. Surely that's more interesting than my political opinions." But the host wasn't having it. He leaned forward with that aggressive posture he's famous for, the one that makes guests uncomfortable. "Oh, come on, Michael. You can't just hide behind your movies. You're a public figure. People want to know where you stand on things that matter. Brexit, for instance. You supported leaving the European Union, didn't you? Despite all the chaos it's caused." The audience grew quiet. This wasn't what anyone had expected. Michael Caine shifted in his seat, his jaw tightening. "I expressed an opinion years ago, yes. As is my right as a British citizen. I'm not a politician. I'm an actor. But you influenced people," the host pressed on, his voice rising. "You've got millions of fans who listen to what you say. Don't you think you have a responsibility to admit when you might have been wrong?" Michael's eyes narrowed. "Wrong? I voted based on what I believed was right at the time. I don't owe anyone an apology for exercising my democratic right. This is exactly why I don't do many interviews anymore. This sort of nonsense." The host laughed, but it wasn't a friendly laugh. It was mocking, dismissive. "Nonsense. Half the country is struggling because of decisions like yours, and you call it nonsense? That's quite something, Michael. I call this line of questioning nonsense." Michael corrected him, his voice growing colder. "You invited me here to discuss my career, my films, the craft of acting. Instead, you're trying to bait me into some political argument for your ratings. I've been in this business for 60 years. I know what you're doing." The tension in the studio was thick enough to cut with a knife. Crew members exchanged worried glances. The audience sat in uncomfortable silence, but the host wasn't backing down. If anything, he seemed energized by Michael's resistance. "Let's talk about your career then," the host said, his tone dripping with false courtesy. "You've made what? Over 100 films? Some of them brilliant, sure. But let's be honest, Michael. You've also appeared in some absolute rubbish. You've admitted yourself that you sometimes choose roles just for the money. Doesn't that cheapen your legacy?" Michael took a deep breath, clearly trying to maintain his composure. "Every actor has to make a living. I've never pretended otherwise. Yes, I've done some films for the paycheck. I've been honest about that. But I've also poured my heart into roles that mattered to me. The Italian Job, Alfie, the Dark Knight trilogy, Educating Rita, Hannah, and her sisters. These films mean something to people." "The Italian Job was 60 years ago, Michael," the host interrupted rudely. "What have you done lately that anyone actually cares about?" That comment landed like a slap. The audience gasped audibly. Michael Caine sat back in his chair, staring at the host with genuine disbelief. "What have I done lately? I've continued working into my 80s, which is more than most people can say. I've worked with Christopher Nolan multiple times in recent years. I've written books. I've mentored young actors. What have you done exactly, besides sit in that chair and insult your guests?" The host's face flushed slightly, but he pushed forward. "I'm just asking the questions the public wants answered, Michael. Don't shoot the messenger. The public doesn't want this, Michael shot back, his voice rising for the first time. You want this. This is your style, isn't it? Attack people, make them uncomfortable, create conflict where there doesn't need to be any. All for what? To make yourself feel important? I think you're being overly sensitive, the host said with a dismissive wave. If you can't handle a few tough questions, maybe you shouldn't be doing interviews. Tough questions? Michael's voice was incredulous now. Asking me about my work, about my craft, about the experiences I've had. Those are tough questions. What you're doing is just rude. There's a difference. The host leaned back in his chair, that infuriating smirk returning to his face. Well, the viewers seem to love it when I push back against celebrities who think they're above criticism. You're not special, Michael. You're just another actor. Just another actor? Michael repeated slowly. I've dedicated my entire life to this profession. I came from nothing, worked my way up, earned every single role through hard work and dedication. And you sit there, in your comfortable chair, having never created anything of value yourself, and you tell me I'm just another actor? The atmosphere had shifted completely now. What had started as uncomfortable had become genuinely hostile. The crew looked ready to intervene, but no one quite knew how to handle the situation unfolding before them. The host pressed on, seemingly oblivious to how badly this was going. Let's talk about something else then. Your personal life. You've been married for, 50 years? That's impressive. But there have been rumors over the years, haven't there? Stories about your time filming abroad, away from your wife for months at a time. Michael's expression turned to stone. What are you implying? I'm not implying anything, the host said with fake innocence. I'm just saying that Hollywood is known for certain behaviors, and you were there right in the thick of it during the so-called Golden Age. Surely you witnessed some things. Participated in some things? Are you seriously sitting there, on television, insinuating that I was unfaithful to my wife? Michael's voice was dangerously quiet now. Based on what? Absolutely nothing? Rumors you've just made up? I'm asking questions, the host defended himself. That's what I do. No, what you do is slander people, Michael said, his voice shaking with anger now. You make baseless accusations dressed up as questions, and you think that makes you a journalist. It doesn't. It makes you a bully with a microphone. The host's own temper was starting to show now. Oh, here we go. I'm the bully? I'm just doing my job, Michael. If you can't handle the heat, maybe you should have stayed retired. Your job? Michael stood up slightly from his chair, fury written across his face. Your job is to have conversations with people, to learn about them, to share their stories with the audience. Not to attack them, not to make things up, not to turn everything into some bloody confrontation for ratings. Sit down, Michael, the host said coldly. You're making a scene. I'm making a scene? Michael's voice rose even higher. You invite me onto your show under false pretenses. You insult my career. You question my integrity. You imply I was unfaithful to my wife. And I'm the one making a scene? You're out of your mind. The host stood up now too, the two men facing each other across the desk. If you don't like the way I conduct my interviews, Michael, you're welcome to leave. The door's right there. Oh, don't worry. I'm well aware of where the door is, Michael said, his voice dripping with contempt. But before I go, let me tell you something. I've been interviewed by the best in the business. David Frost, Michael Parkinson, Barbara Walters, people who knew how to have a proper conversation. They asked difficult questions, yes, but they did it with respect, with intelligence, with genuine curiosity about their subjects. The host scoffed. Oh, please, spare me the lecture. You could learn something from them, Michael continued, ignoring the interruption. But you won't, because you don't actually care about your guests or their stories. You only care about creating moments like this. Confrontations you can clip up and share online. Well, congratulations. You've got your moment. Are you finished? The host asked sarcastically. With you? Absolutely, Michael replied. He began removing his microphone, his hands shaking slightly with anger. You know what the sad thing is? I actually had some wonderful stories to share tonight. Stories about working with incredible directors, about moments on set that changed my life, about what it's been like to have this career. But you weren't interested in any of that. You just wanted to provoke me." "Oh, get over yourself," the host snapped. "You're not as important as you think you are, Michael. There are plenty of other guests who'd love to be on this show." Michael laughed bitterly. "Then I suggest you stick to interviewing them. People who are willing to put up with this nonsense. Because I'm done." "Fine, leave then," the host said dismissively, waving his hand. "Run away. Because you can't handle a real conversation." "A real conversation?" Michael's voice was filled with disbelief. "Is that what you think this was? This wasn't a conversation. This was an ambush. And, frankly, I feel sorry for you. You could have had a genuinely interesting show tonight. Instead, you've got this." He gestured at the chaos around them, the uncomfortable audience, the nervous crew, the palpable tension filling the studio. The host's face was red now, his own anger finally breaking through. "You know what your problem is, Michael? You can't accept that you're not relevant anymore. You're a relic from a different era, and you can't stand that someone is finally calling you out on it." That was the final straw. Michael Caine stared at the host for a long moment, and when he spoke, his voice was quiet, but filled with fury. "The only relic here is your tired, outdated style of ambush journalism. And for the record, I'm not leaving because I can't handle your questions. I'm leaving because this is beneath me, beneath my audience, and beneath what television should be." "Then go," the host shouted. "Get out of my studio." "With pleasure," Michael said coldly. He tossed his microphone onto the chair and looked directly into the camera. "To anyone watching at home who was hoping for a decent interview tonight, I apologize. This wasn't what I signed up for, and it's not what you deserve to see." He turned and began walking off the set, his posture straight despite his obvious anger. The host called after him, "That's right, walk away. Just like you did with your Brexit vote. Leave everyone else to clean up the mess." Michael stopped in his tracks. For a moment, it looked like he might turn around and come back. The entire studio held its breath. But instead, Michael just shook his head in disgust and continued walking, disappearing behind the set, leaving the host standing there alone, fuming. The audience didn't know whether to applaud or stay silent. The host tried to regain control, speaking into the camera about how some guests can't handle real journalism, but his voice was shaking, and it was clear to everyone watching that he had completely lost control of the interview. What was supposed to be a celebration of one of Britain's greatest acting talents had turned into a disaster, a car crash of an interview that exemplified everything wrong with modern confrontational television. Michael Caine had walked into that studio as a guest and left as the clear winner of a battle he never wanted to fight. His dignity remained intact, while the host was left looking petty, aggressive, and utterly out of his depth. As Michael's footsteps echoed through the corridor behind the set, crew members could hear him muttering, 60 years in this business, and I've never been treated with such disrespect. Absolutely disgraceful." The host tried to continue the show, bringing up his next segment, but the damage was done. The empty chair where Michael Caine had been sitting moments before spoke louder than anything else that happened that night. It was a visual reminder that even the most patient, professional people have their limits, and when you push a legend too far, they'll simply walk away and leave you with nothing. Social media exploded within minutes of the confrontation airing. Clips of Michael's best lines spread like wildfire. People praised his composure, his eloquent takedown of the host's tactics, and his decision to simply refuse to participate in what had become a farce. The hashtag defending Michael trended worldwide within an hour. Back in the studio, the host attempted to salvage what was left of the show, but his heart clearly wasn't in it. The audience remained subdued, the energy completely drained from the room. What had started as an evening of entertainment had become something else entirely. A cautionary tale about the dangers of prioritizing confrontation over conversation, ratings over respect, viral moments over genuine connection. And somewhere, Michael Caine was probably at home, having a cup of tea, completely unbothered by the whole affair, secure in the knowledge that he'd done exactly the right thing by refusing to be disrespected for anyone's entertainment, because that's what real legends do. They know their worth. They demand to be treated with basic human decency. And when that doesn't happen, they have the strength and the courage to simply walk away. The empty chair remained on set for the rest of the show, a silent testament to what happens when ego and aggression replace professionalism and courtesy. It was an image that would define that episode, that would be replayed countless times, and that would serve as a reminder that you can be the biggest name in television, but if you don't treat your guests with respect, eventually they'll stop showing up. And when a legend like Michael Caine decides you're not worth his time, that says everything anyone needs to know about who was really in the wrong that night.